Radio Hereford FC, the only station with full match commentaries of the Bulls, every game, every week.
Hello and welcome to We're Going Down the Pub with me, Frank Williams, and my guest again, Mr. Simon Wright.
Greetings!
And we're here to talk about our first league game of the season, a bit of an away guide to AFC Totton. Quite a long journey for us for our first game. Some people are rather disappointed that our first game, our step 4, is an away game, but it's a fantastic journey, if a long one. Totton, Southampton. Yeah.
Interesting place.
126 miles?
126 miles, yeah. And I mean, think Salisbury really, because nearly all the route is the same as if you were going to Salisbury from that epic match from last season. And the ground is actually off Salisbury Road, which gives you a sort of clue to the locale. Very smart ground, out of town ground, built in 2011, purpose built. Very big thanks to the groundsman Ken Dunwell, who gave me a guided tour of the place with, without any prompting whatsoever. Come and have a look. And it's a really impressive complex, it's immaculate, gleaming white paint everywhere. And one of the curiosities about the complex is actually 2 football clubs there. There's another one, probably 30-40 yards away, Totton and Elling FC, who are a Step 6 side. So, if you're a bit of a ground hopper, go and stick your nose through that fence, because, you can almost claim that's an extra ground.
Right, as Simon said, Simon says, I'm sorry, I've got my hand on my head, you're all right, Simon. As Simon said, let's have a look at their recent history. 2011, they played their first match at the Testwood Stadium, and it was a very successful season for them that season. They actually got promoted to the Premier Division, and also won the Hampshire Senior Cup. For the first time, first of 3 in a row that they won that. Then 2012 was a great FA Cup run when they reached the second round proper. After beating Bradford Park Avenue 8-1, they reached the second round, and that was their record home attendance, 2,315. But unfortunately, they did lose 6-1 to Bristol Rovers.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Ouch.
They finished 3rd in the league that year, and got to the playoffs, and actually got to the playoff final, but were beaten 4-2 by Oxford City in their quest to get conference football. They failed in that respect. The following season they finished mid-table, and the season after that, 13-14, they were relegated back to South and West. So they were a bit up and down over the last 5 years or so, and we think, although we're not absolutely certain, that there were some financial issues there.
Yeah, it depends what source you read or talk to. There was definitely some element of financial problems. There's mention of owing £200,000, which at that level is a lot. And there are other local clubs in the area who are quite blunt and said that Totton, they went bust. So I don't know. It's not 100% sure, but what is certain is that now they're at a lower level and their average gate is only half of what it was a couple of years ago.
Of course, well, they were on a bit of a downer, so were we, because in that season, 2014, the only time that a Totton side has played a Hereford side, as far as we can find out, was when they entertained Hereford United in the FA Trophy, which Hereford won that fixture 2-1. That was the expunged year, of course, and we're not absolutely certain whether that result still counts in the records, because although the league record was expunged from existence, we're not certain about the cup runs, because we were in fact knocked out of all the cups before the club folded. Yes. And therefore we'll have to look that up in the record books and see if it still counts. But anyway, that's the only connection we can see. One little thing I can tell you is that Totton have put on Facebook the following little message here. AFC Totton have been given a stunning start to the Southern League season with a home game versus Hereford on Saturday, August the 6th. Hereford are the Phoenix club born out of the ashes of Hereford United. Older football fans, like you and me, will remember the famous FA Cup giant killing by Hereford United in 1972 when they beat top-flight Newcastle, watched by millions on Match of the Day. And they've put a YouTube link to that, which I think is rather nice.
Yeah.
Let's not forget that Hereford was still a Football League club up until a few years ago. There will be a huge crowd at Testwood Stadium for this game, and you'll find that on their Facebook page.
Indeed you will.
Nice.
I saw that, and I like that. Yes, I mean, I think they really are hoping for a big crowd because their average gate is 260. So I'm really interested in what you said about, the history of Totton. If you want to know more, or even if you don't, you sort of can't avoid it when you're at the ground, because there's pictures everywhere, plastered all over the bar, all over the function room, the reception of their day at Wembley and the time that the BBC came for the FA Cup.
Oh, that's right. No, and of course the FA Vars, their time at Wembley. Yes. They are also beaten FA Vars finalists. Was that 2006?
6, I think. Yep. Yes. Yep.
And they lost to Truro in the final. Then it was a record gate, I think.
27,000 people apparently. So
Wembley.
I don't know where they all came from, but very impressive.
Good gate for a final, that.
Very, very good gate. Yeah. So.
Not as good as some, but but a good gate.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, just to be clear, I mean, I think this is the question a lot of people ask: where exactly is Totton? Well, it's actually north of Southampton, just a few miles north, really, just outside the border. Technically, it's within the New Forest. And when you're in the area, you can really tell it's within the New Forest. There's absolutely trees everywhere, And the town centre looks very smart. It's pedestrianised. There's loads and loads of interesting places to drink. But be aware, it's well over a mile from the ground.
Okay, we're going to look at the things now that you will need to know if you're going to join us. Because we're going to be there, aren't we?
Oh, absolutely. Bring it on.
At Totton, yes.
Bring it on.
You need to know. Let's first of all look at the journey.
Okay, I think this is one where you're going to be better off going by road, to be honest. 126 miles. That sounds a lot, but there's actually going to be quite a few longer ones in this season. And, it's August, so, you'll be able to see where you're going. Not too bad at all. If you want to go by train, you need to be aware it takes over 4 hours. You need to change at Newport and then change at Southampton Central, and then you've got a 1.5 mile walk at the other end. So it's basically twice as long by train as it is by car or by coach. Car parking is not a problem. They've got a landscape car park. If you remember Loughborough, sort of very, very smart car parking, that's much the same. It's sort of split into two halves, lots of vegetation everywhere. There's room for 200 plus in there, and I think if that's not enough, they've got an overflow area, and beyond that, I think there's an industrial estate next door, so not going to be a problem really.
And of course, away days are running their usual.
Of course they are. Yes.
One is already full that I saw, and there were limited seats on the second. But of course, knowing Reg, it's supply and demand. If the demand is there, they'll put on more coaches.
Exactly.
So do check with Hereford away days to see if there's any possibility there. And I think it's the same cost as the FC United Manchester. I think it's £15 if you're an away day member and £20 if you're not. But remember, it is one of the longer journeys of the season. It's not the longest, but at 126 miles, it's up there probably in the top 3 or 4. So it's quite nice. It should happen in the earlier part of the season.
Get out of the way quick.
Exactly. You don't want it in the bad weather, do you?
No, you don't want to go down in December. You really don't. But let me tell you a bit about the ground, Frank. I was lucky enough to have a tour, as I said earlier.
Guided tour?
A guided tour,
with
no
drinks?
Sadly, no, there were no drinks on offer.
Not that good a guided tour.
Well, it was all very impromptu and off the cuff, so I was very grateful, And it's, as I said, it's a really smart ground. It feels like a small, proper football ground, because once you go into the turnstile block, there's a really smart, modern block of terracing right in front of you. 7 steps, 2 rows of metal crush barrows. It makes you feel like you're in a football league ground, that little bit. It's really modern. There's 2 stands. One is quite low and some lurid paint across the front. You might want to go in the other one, but the other one is a really smart stand, maybe about a dozen rows, proper seats, proper bucket seats, none of these backless benches, that you fall off, and the steps are quite high, so that's going to be an excellent viewpoint, and I'm sure we're going to have lots of our supporters in there. You can stand any part of the ground. It's a four-sided ground. There's basically terracing all the way around, maybe just 2 or 3 steps. It's all open, but in August, hopefully.
Disabled access?
Disabled access is absolutely spot on. They've got 6 parking spaces right outside the turnstile, and of course it's a modern ground, so everything is concrete, everything is flat, no problem at all. I think you're really going to enjoy this. It's going to be a good trip.
And it's not going to be all tickets, so...
No, absolutely not. No need for it. 3,000 places. I mean, you can imagine with Southampton not having a game that day, there will be quite a decent number of curious locals, because there isn't that much football in the area. So... But even so, 3,000 is ample, isn't it? It really is, even if they travel the normal gate.
OK, let's turn to some of the things that people find very important, eating and drinking.
Absolutely, yeah. Eating is quite a curious one. Their catering seems to take the shape of sort of an ice cream cart, which has been strangely converted, but...
That'll please Keith, if they got Peppa Pig.
Exactly, oh yeah. I remember Keith with an ice cream, but there you go. We've been far too flippant now, stop it at once. I think I imagine more people who've been interested in the liquid side. Ken at the ground assures me that the club bar will be open, obviously, and they will open their biggest function room as well, which is... a decent size. There's room for 120 people seated there, so probably 200 standing up. They've got Doom Bar on there, which some people like and some people don't. Let's put it that way. It's not a favourite of mine. But
it is everywhere, isn't it?
It's like a rash. It really is. They've got the usual sort of array of lagers for people who like that, and they've even got a Suffolk cider. Now I find a Suffolk cider.
Suffolk.
Yeah.
I thought even local to them.
Yeah. Well, there's only one home of cider, isn't it? It's a bit like buying a Bromyard pasty or a Kington pork pie, isn't it? It just doesn't really work, Suffolk cider. But I guess it must have been really cheap, As I said earlier, bear in mind it's an out-of-town ground, so if you want to drink elsewhere, you're going to be struggling a bit. There is a pub half a mile away down the Salisbury Road towards the town centre. I say a pub, it's actually a sort of Whitbread pub restaurant, and it certainly gives the impression of being more food-led than drink-led. Got a very nice long wine list if you're into wine, and there's even champagne. But they don't seem to say anything at all about the beer, so that may say a lot by its absence. Otherwise, you're going to have to go all the way down Salisbury Road, over a mile, into Totton town centre if you really want to go somewhere else. So you might be just best having a beer in the ground.
We'll be relying on them to provide decent catering on the day.
Yeah.
So, being out of town, you tend to find these clubs do cater quite well, don't they? So let's hope so.
Yeah, you'd hope so, wouldn't you?
I'm sure Reg will have some nice little stops on the way if you're travelling with away days.
Oh, I don't know where he finds them from. I really don't.
But he is a landlord himself, so you would expect him to be able to
sniff them out at
absolutely.
half a mile away.
Well, that's great, and we look forward to seeing you all at that game.
See you there.
If you can't make it, of course, it'll be live on Radio Hereford FC.
Got your very own broadcasting room at AFC Totton. Oh, I've been in it. It's very nice. There's a row of seats in front of it, mine, which might be a bit of a nuisance.
We'll have to look at that when we get there.
You may have to stand in the box to be able to see out, but the thought is there.
Well, a broadcasting box, you'd think it was built for broadcasting, but probably standing up on a ladder is not really the best way of doing it. It's been a pleasure again. Thank you very much, Simon, and we'll do it again soon when we look further down the. Shortwood will be the next one. Right, we'll have a go at that, and we'll get you the information as soon as we can.
This is Radio Hereford FC, the home of the Bulls. Match Day Live.